Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I am your host, Dylan Cooper, the constant host over here.
Gavin Franklin.
Guys, a little bit of an interesting week this week. We will be finishing up Eye of Terra, and then, if we're lucky, the last half hour be us shooting the shit. I have a few things that we have been sent from Discord that we could talk about that might be fun. Who knows what we get into? We get fucking wild sometimes.
I mean, all these short stories, they've got some crazy stuff in them.
Oh, yes, for sure. So, before we get into things, Gavin, what are you drinking?
I, today, good sir, am drinking Tropicolata. I'm in a bit of a mood. Orange coconut and pineapple hard cider from Blake's Hard Cider.
You know what's funny? We are on, complete opposites, because guess what I'm drinking? It's almost fall time. So I am drinking Pumpkin from Southern Tier Brewing Company. That's right. The pumpkin beer is fucking back. The Oktoberfest are back.
It's about August. Time. You fucking
I don't
monster.
Give a shit. All right.
Slow down.
Beer is my favorite fucking beers, and it's time.
I'm buying you some Ugg boots for your birthday. Next time you see me, it'll be with a pair of Ugg boots for you.
Oh, I fucking hope so. I wear size 11. Sorry about my dog. He's fucking in the mood right now.
Huh.
Anyway,
well,
before we
I'm
get
excited.
Into our stories.
Excited for the October beers.
Yes, they're the best beers. Anyway, as always, guys, hit us up on the Discord. We have a good time on there. It gets a little raunchy sometimes. Just a forewarning. You can find that pinned to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. We also have tips enabled if you feel like contributing to the podcast at all. You can always email us at theheresylodge@gmail.com. As I talked about a couple of weeks ago, we had someone reach out to us that's local to here, invite us to a fucking hidden game store that I still cannot find on Apple Maps, which is awesome. So we might be hitting them up very soon because we need some tournament prep. And then we are also on YouTube. Hop over there, like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Those are the things. Gavin. Last week, we finished with Stratagem. Going on to the Long Night.
It's been a bit now. It's been a bit.
The Long Night. This was ADB. Oh, this was the really cool one with Sevatar.
Oh yeah, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, my reaction to this was just it kept getting more. I got more excited.
It was
not a long short story by ADB about Sevatar. Just all in all, really fucking sick.
10 out of 10. Had the best things. Had Sevatar, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah, that's the best things. And what
Sevatar ADB. That's all we need.
Yeah, it was great. So in this story, Sevatar is imprisoned on, we don't know where exactly he is imprisoned.
Yeah, I don't think it's the Invincible Reason anymore.
Yeah, we assume it's a ship because he's, at the end, he's being transferred.
Yes, and I mean, there's a navigator there talking to him as well who was on the ship.
Yeah, so we're assuming it's a ship. That would make the most sense. And he's actually dying, pretty hardcore. His noses and ears are bleeding.
Yeah, but it's an interesting conversation he kind of has with the navigator about that, because she's like, you suppressing this for so long is why you're dying. He's like, bitch, I don't care.
Yeah, so Sevatar, he is a psyker.
Yep.
But he has the ability to talk to the dead.
I don't know if that's true.
Is it to read minds?
I think he has the ability to slow down time, because you remember when they first kind of hinted that he was a psyker.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was just kind of slower. Everyone was just slower than he was. So I think it was just kind of as a Zaharials, where you can kind of see their weakness and just kind of be faster than everything else around him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he's like.
I almost felt as if it was he had the ability to read minds.
I mean, maybe. I mean, some psychers have 30 fucking powers. I don't know.
Yeah. He does have the ability to speak to the dead. That was something that he did talk about. He thought that this girl was dead because he does talk to dead people.
Or hears the thought, or the ghost of dead people or something.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Such a Sevatar power.
Yeah, him being just fucked up constantly. Like, yeah, that makes sense for him.
Yeah. So he's being like force fed all kinds of like gruel or whatever by the Dark Angels, and it's hilarious to watch his interactions with his jailers. Because like he'll sit there and eat it and be like, "This is the most delicious fucking food I've ever had in my fucking life. Like, could
man,
you
I thought
please,
yesterday was great. This is
get me some
better.
more?" Oh my
man, you guys
God.
use fucking salt this time? Holy shit, top notch salt.
And the Dark Angels are just so pissed off because they're Dark Angels and they're always constantly pissed.
Yeah, there's always something up their ass.
Savitar's having a really good time with it.
Yeah, and the whole time, like after like they leave, like he'll just like sit in there in darkness and like someone starts talking to him and he assumes it's a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And we think it's a ghost most of the story.
Yeah. So what I really like about this story is so we know in the end that it is we eventually know it's the navigator coming to him psychically and speaking to him. But she is questioning him about his life, about where he came from, that kind of stuff, and really about his motives. Like she talked to him about who the Prince of Crows is. He said, "I'm the Prince of Crows. My like not friends. He doesn't have any friends. My like squad.
I'm his friend.
Yeah, I'll be your friend, Savitar." His squad is like calls him Prince of Crows, and she asks, "Is that the whole truth?" He's like, "No, because we know that the reason he is called the Prince of Crows is because he did some weird fucked up shit in his childhood."
He was just eating crows. It was fine. No, he was eating people, letting the crows eat the person.
Yes, he ate people.
Also, he could hear the crows like talking to him.
Mm-hmm. And I think that has to do with like reading people's minds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So another thing that I really like in their conversation is they kind of talk about the Night Lords and Savitar in particular being like good or bad. And Savitar, it's like, fuck the Emperor, fuck Horus. I fight for myself because it makes sense. Like all these people, even Conrad, like they're all fucking crazy. Like,
yeah, he actually has like a sense of justice, but it's not like a weird, like fucked up version. It's like, look, you're a bad person. You should fucking die.
Yeah, I mean, he is the ultimate version. Like he's like the chimed down version, I think, of Conrad Kurz, but the ultimate version of Batman. We kind of compare Conrad to Batman from time to time.
I mean, it's in there with Corax, right? Like Corax is supposed to be the more like sane
version, yeah.
Yes, but honestly, I think Savitar is the most sane of them all.
Yeah,
with the best sense of justice.
Because he has this idea that like people are evil, I'm going to kill them. He also, what's important about Savitar is he has a sense of justice, but he doesn't think everybody is evil. He thinks most people are evil. He thinks evil is like human's nature, but like he's talking to this girl. He doesn't want to kill her.
Yeah, for some reason too, she also like relieves the pain that he has in his head.
Right.
Which that didn't really make much sense to me. Like if she would have been like a blank, that would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why she was so soothing to him.
I don't know. Just like telepathic connection, I guess. It's maybe his power to read minds, and she's a telepath. I don't know. It's kind of strange. I see what you're saying though.
But like at one point, one of the jailers was like a psyker. Like he could sense it, but like it didn't like soothe him.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that if you just like met Savitar and Savitar didn't know anything about you, he would probably assume you were evil, but the second you showed him otherwise, he wouldn't kill you. You know what I mean?
Pal. I'd buy my beer.
That is like Savitar's justice, because essentially what happens in here is the navigator, they find out that she's communicating with Savitar, so they torture her, and he breaks out because he's Savitar. He just kind of does.
What is it? Well, first, like they start to transfer him, and then he fucking kills them all.
Yeah,
because like after she was tortured, she was gone for like 2 weeks or something. He was like, "Yeah, where have you been?" And this was after he found out she was a real person, because that fucking blew his mind. Yeah. He was like, "Wait a minute, you're not a ghost? What the fuck?" But yeah, so finds out like she's been tortured. He's like, "Who did this to you?" And like. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill them.
Yeah.
And guess what? he starts getting transferred, and he kills the fucking people escorting him
with a lot of help.
Yes.
The Psyker takes control of some of the Space Marines' minds, and he like kills them as they can't do anything about it. But also, like, it's kind of cool. He's about to escape, and the girl's like, "Yeah, go to that escape pod." He's like, "No, I'm gonna kill all these people and save you."
Yeah, he's like, "Where the fuck is the person that fucked with you?"
Yeah. And what's hilarious to me is right now, what we know about Sotar is he's somewhere on some Dark Angel ship murdering people.
Well, I mean, he gets captured at the end. He just gives himself up, too.
Oh, yeah.
After he kills the person that tortured her, he's like, "Yeah, well, I did what I wanted to do."
Yeah.
She's like, "Sevatar, why'd you do that?" And he's like, "Justice."
Justice.
My parents are dead.
Yeah, so this is Sevatar's story. He's still tied up with the Dark Angels. I'm really hoping we see him in Angels of Caliban. I think that would be.
I really hope so.
So that was the dark path.
The
Path of Darkness.
The Long Night.
Close enough.
The next one is Sins of the Father. This was from Andy Smiley.
Is this the one about Sanguinius?
Yes, this is Sanguinius.
Having visions.
Yep.
About the deaths of Ascalon and Amit.
Yep. I don't remember much of this one, other than he was having these like visions, and then he like made them like train against each other.
Yes. Okay, I remember. All right, I'm trying to remember how they died in his visions. And the first one was essentially that Escalon, like Sanguinius, dies in the Battle of Terra, during the Siege of Terra.
Yep.
And Escalon comes to Sanguinius' side after his death and basically like weeps and then dies during that process. And Amit, in his rage and his anger, go to follow the person that killed Sanguinius, and he drowns in a giant pool of blood.
That's pretty crazy.
That's pretty fucking metal.
It's time for hell in the cell.
That's pretty much what it is. But we've seen this already previously in another short story book where Sanguinius is concerned about the nature of his two favorite sons, Escalon and Amit. I don't know why we haven't seen Rattleworn around. Hopefully we get to see him again. But you have Amit the Flesh Terror, this crazy, off-the-wall, seeking revenge blood angel. And you have Escalon, who's this very poised, like, has tempered his anger, and Sanguinius is like the combination of the two. We've seen this before. He talks about it in the other short story. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Virtues of the Sons, and this is supposed to be Sins of the Father. It's like these two short stories mirror each other essentially. Previously, Sanguinius sent Escalon to fight Lucius, and Amit to fight.
Amit fought Karn.
Karn, yeah. And he noticed that they had changed the way they fight a little bit because, Escalon had to be more aggressive against Lucius, and Amit had to be more passive against Karn. And what we see here is Sanguinius asked them to fight each other in reverse roles, as an Amit protects Sanguinius and Escalon tries to kill him. And it worked out. Like this whole process here is basically Sanguinius trying his best to prevent this future that he sees for them based off of their personalities and their style of fighting.
I don't know if you know this answer or not, but is Dante at all in 30K?
No. He's a 40K exclusive, really badass Space Marine, possibly the most badass Space Marine.
Yeah, it really surprises me, like during like all these like short stories. Hell, even in Ferris, we did not see Rattleron, who's supposed to be like the right-hand man to Sanguinius.
Yeah, when the heresy first started in the books, it talked a lot about Rattleron. He was in at the council in IKEA, as like the big deal.
Yeah, there. I mean, hell, even in
Fear to Tread.
Yeah, he was always up fucking Sanguinius' ass.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. He's like the Query, right? The Sanguinius.
Yeah, which is really confusing. I mean, I get that Ascalon is the Sanguinary Guard captain, but
yeah,
I think Rattleron would be around.
If you think about what we have seen from Sanguinius though so far, we have these two short stories, which I think are literally supposed to be about Amit and Escalon. Like, boom, they just have those two short stories, kind of like how we get random short stories about Sevatar, you know?
Yeah.
Other than Fear to Tread, we got him for like a page in Unremembered Empire.
Yeah.
And then a little bit in Pharos, and he was being attacked, so the Sanguinary Guard were there. That's why Ascalon was there.
Which makes me wonder, where the fuck is Ralderon?
What's he doing? What is Rattleon up to? Yeah,
maybe he's just fucking hunting down curs, and he's just doing a really bad job at it.
You know, dude, you guys
could have just stayed here. Anything else you want to go about Sins of a Father?
No, I think that's pretty much it. It was a good one. It wasn't like amazing or anything, but it was cool to see like a short story piggyback off of another short story, but it did the exact same thing. So maybe we'll see some.
These next two books do that even better.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So next is the Eagle's Talon, which is the start of Talarn. So this is the one where the Imperial Fists, right, are trying to invade Talarn, and then shit hits the fan. Well, that's like the whole fucking premise.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It sucks reading these short stories because we go over 3 weeks and having short story after short story, we get so far ahead of reading, which is rare. Like we thought that was not going to be a problem, and it has been a problem.
Yeah, but so this is the one where the Imperial Fist are trying to, they're going into Talarn. They have some objective they're trying to destroy, and they get noticed by the Mechanicum, and start dropping like flies. And they, for whatever reason, like the captain keeps like asking for this one dude to be alive. I'm like, dude, he's fucking dead. And then they fucking crashed their ship into Talarn and fucking like fucks up everything.
Yeah, so the premise of this is they're on a ship, right?
Are they?
I think so.
I thought they were on the planet because they kept talking about like the atmosphere of the planet, I thought. Because okay, so the next story, there's a Titan that's definitely on the planet.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think it comes from space though. Like the next story is on the planet. I think this one is in space. Because I think
fucking confusing then.
What happens is, so these are like forward forces of the Imperial Fist. So there's like 5 of them or something like that. There's not a lot.
Well, yeah, because normally they're building walls.
Yeah, this is really unique for them. But essentially, they have an objective that they're trying to secure. I can't remember what that is. I think they might be trying to take over ship. They might be trying to get a Titan. Is that it? Maybe they're trying to secure a Titan.
I thought there was something on Talarn that they were trying to get.
So that is the premise, right? There's something they're trying to achieve, but they have a backup plan. And that backup plan is just it basically eliminates a large swath of Talarn, the planet. And they're like, okay, well, if everything goes to shit, we'll just click that button. But the Imperial Fist captain in charge is like, I don't really want to click that button. So he is like fully dedicated to this cause. He's like, this is basically our only option because they have Imperial Guard regiments down on the surface that they don't want to kill. But the idea is like, is it worth killing your own troops to achieve this objective?
Yeah.
And it comes to a point where like the Imperial Fist basically lose because they don't have enough walls. And the guy, one of the people in the squad, I can't remember his name. He was the one that planted the charges or whatever was going to like blow this up. And he was like, Captain, do I have your permission to blow the charges? And the captain is like, no, we can't do it. And this guy was like, well, good fucking thing that I made it go to my suit and not yours. And he blows it up. It was a really cool moment where it was like, okay, well, I knew you were going to say that, so I did it myself. But that's kind of the premise of the story. It's really like, I'm sure it'll be really cool in Talon. Hopefully they mention it a little bit.
I'm so confused by Talon. Like, is it just a fucking poisonous atmosphere? Is this all in space? Like, what the fuck is happening?
Talon, I think, is a planet. It's a
fucking planet.
Yeah, it's a pretty like terrible planet. But I think this, from what I remember, I don't know, I'd have to recheck, and I don't have the physical copy of this book because it's $250 on Amazon.
Same.
It's like, I think this one's in space. I think they're on a ship over Talon. But the next one is on Talon, and I think it's actually the cooler of the two stories.
So the next one is called The Iron Corpses, and this follows Iron Warrior. I was like, fuck, it's an iron something.
Is it a hand? A fist? No, that's Imperial.
Yeah, that's just a stupid fucking name for how cool they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one follows in the Imperial Guard. Goddamn, not Imperial Guard. An Iron Warrior who is on Talon, and he's like, what? Why the fuck did they do that? Everything's a shit show now. There's fucking poisonous gas everywhere, and I'm trying to survive. And he notices that there's a light going off in a Titan. He's like, I'm going to that fucking Titan. So he gets to this Titan. And he finds out there's like one person still left alive. And she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm fixing this fucking Titan. Because I need to survive.
She is like tied into the Titan though?
Yes.
And she can only face one direction. So she's basically facing the viewing port and he never goes in front of her, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And what's awesome about this is we don't know which side this Titan is on.
Yeah.
So he is going through, he's fixing up the Titan, and he's talking to this woman the whole time. Like, you know, like, I'm going to keep you alive, yada, yada, yada. And finally, like, it comes to life. And he walks in front of her finally, and she's like, holy fuck. You're an Iron Warrior. He's like, yeah, bitch, you're fucked.
I got your Titan now.
Imperial motherfuckers.
Yeah, it was. She was like really upset about it. He's like, you can't do anything, so I have control of the Titan. But he actually has to permanently seal himself in the Titan too.
Yep.
So now he is like permanently in the like sensorium of this Titan, and they're there. She hates him, but she can't do anything about it. So he's walking around as a Titan now, which I think is pretty fucking cool. That was a cool story. Really cool.
I'm interested because Talon it's an anthology.
Yes.
So I hope like this story is brought up in those, at least one of them.
Yeah, like all the stuff that's happening there. I think it's going to be very similar to Calth, but with more Iron Warrior shenanigans.
Yeah, I hope it's better. I mean, if it's Iron Wars, it has to be better, right?
I mean, to be fair, I think No Fear was actually a really good book.
No Fear was great.
It was just all the stuff after No Fear.
Mark of Calth was not great.
Mark of Calth was pretty terrible, and all 17 other short stories about Calth.
Yes. Hell, I mean, even the Ultramarines are sick of Calth.
Yeah, Theel's just dying to get out.
He really is. All right, so our next story, which is one of my favorites of this one, was the Final Compliance of 6314.
Oh, this was really good.
It was fucking awesome. So this one follows I don't even know what his like title.
Like a governor?
Yeah, he's like the governor of a planet at this point, and he was put in charge by Horus. And Horus's fleet is above the planet saying, join us or die, basically.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's just kind of like there's like a second in command with him. He's like, so what are you going to do? And he's just like going, like reminiscing over like old stories.
Yeah, he's walking through his like mansion essentially, or the governor's palace or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it has he used to be a high-ranking member of the Imperial Guard, and brought a few worlds of compliance with the War Master. And he had collected all these various items throughout his campaigning, so he has them displayed now in his palace. So he's walking around, looking at all these, telling the stories about where they came from, and the whole time his second in command's freaking out.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck's he gonna do? And he's just like, hey man, do you remember like when we like went and just fucked up all these people? Like that was fucking sick.
And at one point he was like, and then the women after, and he was like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh man, I never forget me a good pussy.
That's basically what he said, 100%. And the guys get like freaking out more and more. And I love that moment where like, sir, what are you gonna tell Horace? And the guy's like, dude, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to do my thing here.
Yeah, he's like, dude, okay, like, turn off the fucking radio. Like, I'm here to reminisce. Like he like goes through like everything. And, like it was like you really gotta like learn about this character. Like he had like a wife who like she died of like cancer or something. And it was like, man, like this dude, like he's lived a long, good life, and he's like, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah, and you have storm birds flying over the whole time, trying to threaten like compliance or whatnot.
Yeah, it's great. And then he's like, and then like finally, like second command's like, so what do you do? What are you gonna do? And he's like, well, you can kill me now, or you can follow me. And you're like, the whole time he's like walking to like the podium, basically. It's like tell them. And
he tells him
he points his gun at him, and he's like, I can't shoot him.
Yeah, he tells the second in command that he's going to tell Horace no. Second in command almost shoots him because they are also aware that there is basically no military presence on this planet.
Yeah, there's no survival.
Yeah. So he tells the second in command that he's going to tell Horace no, and the second command's like, I can't let you do that. He pulls out his gun, and the general or the governor's like, well, like you can shoot me, but I'm going to start walking through that door. And yeah, couldn't do it. So then, like, you hear at the end, like, the gunshots of the Space Marines, like, blowing the sky apart.
Yeah, it's just fucking, like, it's a very, like, cool scene where you have this human who's standing up against Boris.
Yeah. I enjoy these little, like, tidbits of, like, you see all of these legions fighting. Sure, why not? But how is it affecting the Imperium? And I enjoy these, like, little tiny moments where you go to a planet that's not some big military strategic thing, but Horace is still there, you know?
Yeah.
How are they dealing with it? What's the stories going on there? Just to watch this governor doom his planet to death over some pride. Is he right? Is he wrong? I think he's right. But given the context, he's probably wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like he like mentions like, you know, like when I made my oath, it was because of the Emperor's idea, not of Horace. Yeah. Like, yes, Horace is the one that like brought me here and everything else, but he's not who I followed.
On one hand, you know, my concept is you doomed millions of people because of your pride, but at the same time, like, he doesn't know this, but the shit that they would get into is far worse than death.
But yeah, I love these fucking stories. This is probably my third favorite of this entire like book. But like it kind of reminds me of that one Alpha Legion story where there was just like the one guy who was sent to that agri world who like turned the whole world just by like fucking with their radios.
It reminds me a lot of the story too with like Cor Swain arriving to that planet trying to convince
yeah, that was also another good one.
Yeah. Like a lot of these stories that are just like you could make like almost like a D&D campaign out of small little things like this during the Horus Heresy. I think that would be a lot of fun.
That'd be so fucking fun.
Yeah, because like you don't have to worry about the big fucking Legion wars going on. You can just be your own on your own little planet that's being swayed to join the Emperor or Horus, and your decisions affect like how that turns out. That would be a lot of fun.
That'd be cool. Yep. All right, it's the last story of Eye of Terra. Terra. No, it's Terra. The Herald of Sanguinius. So this was the one where Orion was trying to see Sanguinius, and Askel's like, "No, sir, you're not on the list."
This story was so silly to me, in my opinion.
I didn't even like, understand the ending of it. I was just like, "What is happening right now?"
It's such a weird concept. Where like, who wrote this one?
This one is written by also that Andy Smiley guy.
Okay. This introduces the concept of the Sanguinor, which is very important in 40K as well. It's a model you can buy. But it's really silly. Like any like this is almost like Iron Fire. Like I'm reading, I'm like, why did you have to
Iron Fire?
Why'd you have to do all that? Like this is so easy. And so basically there's like tons of people waiting to see Sanguinius, right? And Ascalon's guarding the door. The first person that comes is an Iron Warrior or Iron Hand.
Yes, an Iron Hand, of course, because they're everywhere.
We gotta get in here. Okay, pal. Why don't you go change your jaw with a piece of metal?
Yeah, hey man, I think you're weak as flesh. No, flesh is weak.
Well, you're weak as flesh. You're weak as flesh.
Man, that's a big insult to them.
That's a big insult. Weak as flesh ass motherfucker. So then the line comes in. He's like, I demand to see my brother Sanguinius. And tensions get really high. And this is what blows my mind about this whole Imperium Secundus ordeal. Is they're constantly like, this thing could turn into a huge revolt at any minute. I highly doubt it. Like in reality, that would be one of the most unified forces because you have a very clear enemy that you can blame for your problems. Like that is just like nationalism at its peak. Like you've just done it.
Yeah, there's like no one even like close by that could even be against it.
Yeah. So Ascalon like basically tells him to fuck off. It was pretty good. But then Ascalon goes to Sanguinius. This is what's hilarious. What's Sanguinius doing? Like no, he's not even fucking doing anything.
He's literally just like chilling. He's like flying around like fuck it.
Yeah, it's like the Emperor's New Groove kind of thing where you come in like, Mr. Cusco, there's tons of people lined up to see. It's like, oh shit, my job sucks. This is way too hard. It's like your brother, another Primarch, would like to talk to you. I've got too much on my plate.
Wait, which brother? The Lion? I'm busy.
Super busy today. I can't. Oh, one of the legions really wants to see you. Which one? The Iron Hands. Oh my god. Yeah, my calendar's booked for years. There's no way. I know I was just appointed emperor, and Gilliman literally handles everything. I'm so booked. So they decide that they're an Escalon. So I can imagine, sir. Your job's really hard. Oh my gosh, Mr. Sanguinius. I can't even imagine the stress that you go through.
That he's just like, you goddamn right.
It's rough. It's rough, kid. You might understand. So Escalon comes up with this idea of basically having a herald. Conceptually, makes a lot of sense. Like have somebody that can answer these summons for you. Genius. Like, okay, why did it take someone so fucking long to think of that? Like, I feel like that's the reason they have like vice presidents and the reason that they had all throughout history people that were like second in command to answer all that kind of shit. But apparently it took Ascalon to say, this is a really good idea.
Of course.
But then, in true Space Marine fashion, they do it in the weirdest fucking way possible.
Yeah, and unless I don't understand, it's just like a fucking statue, right?
No, so this is what they did. Are you ready?
Yeah.
This is geniusness. So they were like, okay, we need to appoint somebody to answer, like take the stuff that the people are complaining about and bring it to Sanguinius. But we don't want people to know who that person is. So we're going to make them wear a mask. But like, we can't even let people know that we know who it is. So this is what we're going to do, which is so like way too much. This is like way too much. It's so silly. Because like, first off, if you're a sanguinary guard, you're not going to betray Sanguinius by trying to influence him. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Secondly, the whole process is silly. So they draw straws. Okay. Two of the sanguinary priests, sanguinary guard, of the sanguinary guard get the shortest straws. So everyone else leaves except Ascalon. Because Ascalon can know, but no one else can.
What's even better about all of this is none of them have fucking wings. So you fucking know it's not Sanguinius the whole time.
No, it's not Sanguinius. The trick is to make sure no one knows who it is.
That's even dumber.
It is really dumb.
First off, they all wear armor anyway.
Yeah, just take a hit from the Alpha Legion and don't fucking tell anyone. Like, did Alfarius kill everybody just to make sure that he was Alfarius? No, like, what? It's so silly. So, basically what they now do with the two people with the Shore 6, they fight to the death. I don't know why. They fight to the fucking death.
Yeah, I was really confused by this part.
Apparently, like, appointing a herald means someone has to fucking die. I don't know what the point of this was. Then they take the mask and they, like, permanently seal it to this man's face that lived. And then Ascalon disposes of the body so no one else knows who died. What an insanely complex, fucked up, weird ass fucking ritual just to have somebody be like, yeah, I can talk to Sanguinius for you.
Also, was that a meat part of this?
No.
I could have sworn I remember him being like in here somewhere.
No. Just a sanguinary guard. But the guy that got the mask he's now the Sanguinor. So he heard. It's so funny. All of this doesn't even make any sense too, because he's not even allowed to make decisions. He has to get the problems from the people to Sanguinius. So he's a glorified middleman to talk to Sanguinius.
Every manager everywhere.
And if you think about that, that doesn't even solve the problem, because Sanguinius still has to hear all of the stuff for them waiting in line for. This was so silly. So the purpose of this whole Sanguinor thing was just really fucking stupid.
I just love Ascalon being like, bro, you're just not on the list.
Yeah, that was a really funny part. It just got really weird.
Yeah, it was too long too. I was just like, man,
yeah,
what is happening right now?
You think if Sanguinius heard about this, he'd be like, wait, you fucking killed somebody? That was not the request I made from you. I just wanted somebody to take questions. I didn't need you to murder somebody. But the blood angel is like, that was weird as fuck. I don't know what the deal with that was, but yeah, weird shit.
Flesh is weak.
You're weak as flesh.
So yeah, that ends Eye of Terra. Overall, what did you think?
I thought it was one of the worst anthologies yet.
See, I don't think so, because there was actually like several like good stories. Like Aurelian was really good.
There's like 20 stories here though, and
there's a lot.
Because like there were like 3.
Mark of Cal, I think, is still my least favorite.
Oh, good point. I suppose if you had to list anthologies,
there are several like bad ones. I think it was pretty decent. Like Aurelian was really good. I think that's worth the read. I think the Wolf of Ash and Fire is pretty fun.
Yeah,
because we see the Emperor. I mean, Brotherhood of the Moon's kind of useless, but if you like the Scars, I liked it. Iron Fire was stupid. I like Stratagem and I like the Red Mart because of feel.
Yeah.
Master of the First, we both liked a lot. The Long Night was really good. And the Final Compliance 6314 I really liked. There were several good ones.
Yeah, there were some bad ones. There were some good ones.
Yeah, like Vorax was fucking terrible. The Inheritor was fucking ridiculous.
Vorax was the best short story we have ever read. When it comes to all stories, like, there's Thousand Suns, First Heretic, Betrayer, Vorax.
I have Betrayer first, actually.
Bro, I think I had Betrayer first too.
Yeah, I have Betrayer, Fulgrim.
Fulgrim's so good.
What do I have third?
Probably First Heretic.
Oh yeah, First Heretic and Scars.
Really? Interesting. Well, that's the book. What are the topics we have to talk about here?
So I was given a list. Let me pull it up. So it was a review of the last 2 years of podcasting that we've done.
It's been 2 years.
Almost.
Holy
It'll be
fuck.
2 years in December.
Oh my god.
Let's see. Did we expect the community that we have, our favorite moments, where we want to take the next year, or if we can make blah blah blah. Our favorite parts of the Horus Heresy, and like what they've done right, and things that we would change.
All right, let's start from the beginning. What reflection of our 2 years podcasting?
They've definitely gotten better.
100%.
There's no way we could get worse.
It makes me feel, I think a lot about like people that joined, be like, hey, like I was catching up on your podcast. I'm like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, every time like we get like a new person in, I'm like, holy shit. Like we had one recently, it's like, hey, I just caught up to the podcast. I was like,
you listened to the first 10? That must have been awful.
No, dude, the first like 20 probably.
Really bad. Yeah, once we got new microphones and we figured stuff out, like it got a lot better. But maybe we go back and do a little recap on those so people don't have to do that. But that's far in the future.
We definitely need to like redo. The word, like my least favorite moment ever is the fact that like, yes, the last church was such a good conversation and it was just fucking I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So sad. Our system now, it's gotten so much easier too, the way we do it. Like we used to have to do all kinds of crazy sound file shit. It's like a 5-minute process now.
Yeah, like I mean we pay for like a thing like automatically like updates the like
sound
levels.
Quality. Yeah.
I don't even know if we even need it anymore because of our mics now.
Yeah, that's true. I get that. But yeah, we I think too, like we had grander visions for the podcast when we first started. We definitely still want to do more stuff, but I think we're pretty exclusive to the podcast at this point. We wanted to go into doing like battle reports. And really the biggest thing, like, yeah, it took a lot of time to edit, sure, but it was worth it. It was really cool.
That we live in separate states now, which
that's
sucks.
The biggest thing is the distance because it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. And
and like having you drive up here every week is like it's not fair to you. And it's a lot harder for me to drive down for other reasons currently.
I mean, it's just we're both really busy too. Like you got a new job, you know, like I do a lot of tournament stuff and Katie does a lot of soccer stuff, and it's a lot, which is it's fine. So I think we're happy sticking to the podcast stuff. Because honestly, I would rather do competitive play anyway than focus on making battle reports. That's just me personally.
I don't know. I think if we had more armies, and
battle reports would be a blast.
It would be a blast. That, and I don't know, like when we actually play, like we just say like ridiculous shit and it's funny.
It is funny. Yeah, we need to. If it really is just about the distance. If I moved back to Indianapolis, which I don't think is going to be the case,
sad stuff.
It would definitely be something that we did pretty frequently, I think. But yeah,
I think it'd be part of our weekly schedule.
Mm-hmm. So that's 2 years in podcast. What's the next question?
Next one was again. Did we expect the community that we have? I'm gonna say definitely not.
I'm gonna say yes and no. I didn't expect it to be as big, but I did expect you guys to be as weird as you are. It was one of those things too where like me and Dylan will sometimes message each other like, do you see what people are posting in the Discord right now? And Dylan will be like, yeah, that's just the community. And I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense. And then I join in and I talk about butt plugs and stuff.
I will say, like, we've lost some like OGs in our Discord, which kind of sucks.
It's good to see Ryan back.
Yes, I'm glad we have the guy that we're like, man, that was us as a fucking college student.
Yeah.
But like we've lost like Quoth, which sucks. Like that was like one of my main dudes. Blood Sanguinius. Also, just super nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think he still listens to the podcast. He just didn't have a good time in the Discord, which I love our Discord.
It can be a lot.
Not for everyone.
Not for everybody. But it's fun. It's fine though. It's kind of the fostered community we have, which is okay. But we definitely weren't expecting the numbers, and we're still growing, which is crazy.
People don't care about this, but we are almost at 600 Spotify followers. I have no idea what we are on Apple, but Apple's probably like another at least 300.
Yeah.
And we have almost 100 subscribers on like YouTube and stuff. I mean, this is decent. We have a decent following.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of fun. I have yet to run into anybody like at a tournament or anything and they're like, oh, you're like the hair sludge. But I have like talked to people about it and kind of exchanged information because I have met other people that do like painting podcasts or not necessarily podcasts, like videos, streaming and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely wasn't expecting the community. And like you guys are great. It's so funny. Like it literally cracks me up. Like me and Kate will be watching TV on the couch and I'll like look at the Discord. I'm like, oh, I'll just laugh out loud.
What the hell's happening?
It's just like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, trust me, you do not want to know.
No one needs to see this. All right. Our favorite moments. I think this is of the Horus Heresy.
Of the Horus Heresy. Honestly, it's still really hard to get over the opera scene in Fulgrim.
That was pretty crazy.
That was a crazy, awesome moment.
The last church.
Yeah, that was really good too.
Man. Just like Sevatar's like introduction. That's a good one, just because he's just so.
Yeah, the Prince of Crows was a phenomenal story. That was great.
Trying
to think like other big moments because like I really enjoyed, for instance, like the Thousand Suns, but I don't think that it had like a big moment that was like, oh my gosh, that blew my mind.
The death of Argotol and Betrayer.
Yeah, that was a big deal. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's one of those ones I was like, oh,
put the book down.
Yeah. And it had been a while since like I've had one of those moments where it's like, holy shit. Yeah. I saw one like a character. Like a real character.
I think like the moment to Argotol went into the warp for the first time and became a Gal Vorback. That was a phenomenal.
Yeah, like when they come out and it's like, dude, it's been like 15 seconds. And bro, I was in there for like 5 years.
Yeah. I think if we didn't know a lot about it, Isfahan 3 would have been insane.
Yeah.
The death of Loken or death of Loken.
Yeah, I mean, there was other like characters too, though. Like the death of like Torgadon, that was pretty big. We had
Tarvitz.
It's all Tarvitz. We had
Oh, I mean, there's a couple of the Remembrancers that like Carcassy.
R.I.P. baby.
That was a crazy moment, and then of course the death of Alston.
Yeah.
The sculptor when Fulgrim impales him onto the.
That was crazy.
Fulgrim moments were nuts. Like the Book of Fulgrim. Like every time I think about it, I'm like,
so when people say they don't like it, I'm like, why did you not like it?
That was so crazy. Like what?
They're like, oh, it's so slow to get into. I'm like, what's slow about it?
Yeah. I think there were several torture scenes with Vulcan and Comrade Kurz. Comrade Kurz in general has been amazing. Comrade Kurz is a peak Horus Heresy moment, but when he tortures Vulcan, that was pretty wild.
Dude, that was nuts.
Yeah.
And like every scene, like especially like
the one where he puts him in the oven, that was crazy.
I think the dinner scene was crazier.
Yeah, where he cuts off people's hands and they can't eat.
Oh yeah, that's my God. Nuts.
Comrade Kurz is nuts, but it was good. Yeah, I think those kind of summarize like my big ones.
I'm trying to think if it was any other like just like big moments in the heresy that I think Nikea was a big one on both Thousand Suns and
more in Prospero Burns, I think. Because
I liked like the stories, like the trial part of Nikea in Thousand Suns, but like the backstory and like Prospero Burns, where like you had the person that you think is a Thousand Sun that's like turning on them. Yeah. Both of those notes are just like they're different but very cool.
Another book that I was genuinely surprised that I loved was Legion. Like I had no feelings for the Alpha Legion, and then after that, I was like, these guys are really fucking cool. So that was a good book. But now every time I read about the Alpha Legion, I'm like, okay, too much Alpha Legion.
I don't know. We haven't had like a dedicated Alpha Legion book in a long time.
I don't think we're gonna get another one. Well, we'll definitely have Alpha Legion somewhere. I think in Praetorian Adorn, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, definitely there. But like, I think the last time we had like really saw them was Deliverance Lost, which was we kind of like mind fucked ourselves because we were like, wait a minute, is it a different Alpharius every time? That was crazy. Like when we thought about it, like holy shit, that's nuts.
Yeah.
All right. Next. Favorite parts of Horus Heresy and what they did right, because we shit on them all the time.
Yes, we do shit on the authors a lot. It's always something that here's the thing. We dedicate a lot of our lives reading the books that they write. So obviously they're doing something right. But I also think like when anything you write something in public, you kind of leave yourself open to the opinions of the public.
Yeah, I agree.
And like what we're really doing, I think, is comparing books in a bubble, right? We're comparing books to each other, comparing scenes to each other, and that makes sense. When they set out to write the Horus Heresy, they were originally going to write like 6 books.
I don't think it was 6.
Yeah. So after the success of the first 3, they set out on the bold 52.
Yeah.
And that's too much.
And the problem is too is like there's so many like I like anthologies, but the problem is a lot of them just like don't do anything.
Yeah. I think that's one big thing they did wrong. Too many anthologies.
That and not even just like that, like before the anthologies came out, like there were what the fuck do they call it? It's not an audiobook. Yeah, an audio story. Yeah. Like if we because Garo's like book like 40 something, which had a bunch of audio dramas before Vengeful Spirit. If we didn't know, if like the books of like Garo didn't happen like in book format, we would have never had those stories. Like I don't even know if like the Yasugi story, or not Yasugi, the swordsman guy.
I think he actually is. He is. I think he is in
one of the upcoming anthologies.
Yes, I believe he is.
I can't think of his fucking name right now. But the swordsman from another short story. Nagasena.
Yeah.
Like if we didn't know about that, like I don't know how you could read Vengeful Spirit without reading all those.
Yeah. The planning of it could have gone a little bit better in the order that they released things. Another thing that I think that they could have really improved is we were actually talking about this before we started the podcast. It's really rough because when they don't expect the readers to have read previous books. So what you get is every single book you sit down to read, you get an introduction. And that is rough to get through. You get through like 100 pages of like filler, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Set up for a story that you've already been set up to 50 times before. Like we were talking, like you read Harry Potter, like they're not doing set up for the story of Harry Potter in book 5, like very big difference. So that's pretty rough.
Especially like as deep as we are. Like we are on book like 34.
Something like that, somewhere around there.
Maybe and like
further.
Like I mean I'm enjoying Path of Heaven, but it is at a point where it's like, man, like I don't care about what's happening right now. Like let me get to the actual story.
Yeah. It's really strange when you get 30-some books in, 40-some books in, and they're introducing new characters. That's rough.
Yes.
Another thing that they did right in the beginning that I think they've strayed away from is humans. Humans was such a cool thing in the first 3 books. Like half of the story was about the Remembrancers, and that I think really attributes to the success of the first 3 books.
Yeah, and that's why I like Scars so much, is because we had the resurgence after so long of a human character.
Yeah. You start to see them, maybe only one of them in a story or 2 of them in a story if you're lucky, or you get it to where it's only humans and it's the Assassinorum and you don't
although in like Betrayer we had Captain Saren or whatever her name is.
Yeah, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like, because I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like, how the fuck would we react to a fucking space marine?
Mm-hmm. Things they've done really well, though, is they took an established story that we already know the ending to and still surprise the shit out of us constantly. Like that, I know that's something they talked about doing, and they have accomplished that.
Although, how much shit has been redacted?
That's true. Yeah, but it's all in all, like the Horus Heresy as a novel series is phenomenal. If you didn't know anything about the Horus Heresy and you picked it up and started reading, it would be a really good story if you didn't get fatigued by all the characters that it introduces.
Yeah, I feel like the first like 5 books definitely is like, I like almost as like must read. Like if whenever I was like, oh, like what should I read? I'm like, these 5 books. Like the first one, I didn't really like the first one that much. People love Horus Rising. I don't get it.
False Gods was like the shit.
Yeah, False Gods was super good. And like, I don't know, like halfway through like Horus Rising, like it kind of picks up. Like after you
finally a lot of
introduction. The billion characters.
Yes, and like the concepts too. They did that was Dan Abnett had a really tough job with that.
He
like
did.
Introduce somebody to the concept of the Warhammer 40K universe and introduce them to these characters that they don't know.
Yeah, I feel like if like I came into it like already knowing like what I know now, like it would probably be a better book. But like if you're coming in fresh, like you don't like understand like the size of the like of Space Marines, like how different they are compared
to
like
warp works.
Yes.
The concept of the Primarchs, unification, like why are humans fighting humans?
Yeah, and like especially in like False Gods, like when they start like you get like the Slanesh chant and like stuff like that. Like you don't really know about that. But like if you're new to Slanesh, it's like, oh holy shit. Or like Nurgle or whoever. It's like, oh my god.
Zombies.
Shit's going nuts.
Yeah. I oftentimes think about adapting like the Horus Heresy into a movie, and I think there's a lot of stuff into movies. I think it would probably be better as a series, but there's a lot of stuff that I think would need to be added in the beginning to give people a basis to like the setup of the world. Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to almost go like Game of Thrones approach, where it's very slow.
Just throw them into it. Like, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, you introduce a billion characters in the first season. You have one big thing that happens, and you're like, I hope that hooks them, because we need like 8 more.
If it were ever to start out like a TV show or anything like that, I think the first scene should really be of like the cloaked, like obviously not revealing true form of the Pantheon, like basically reviewing like what the Emperor is about to do when he starts, and then go into the last church, and then from there pick up at Horus Rising. I think that would be a really, because you kind of get intro to like the bad, the good, what the plan is, what the setup is, and jump into it. But yeah, we're going a little off track with the question, but I do love the books. They've done an amazing job like letting us like the Primarchs, but there are definitely some things that like, I think if you were just read a book, you'd be like, this book is really, really good. But after 34 of them, you're like, I no longer am amazed by how powerful Primarch is.
Yeah, I'm like, please kill this Primarch.
Yes, please. Kill somebody. Kill somebody, please.
Yeah.
It's the next one.
That was the last one.
Last question?
Yeah, which honestly ends perfectly at almost an hour.
Almost an hour. Right on. Well, that was a fun little group of questions.
Yeah. So, guys, after every anthology, we do these bullshit episodes, right? Give us things to talk about. After 40 books, we kind of run out. And I mean, we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, so after 100 episodes, it's kind of hard to keep track. Which, by the way, that reminds me, we do episode 100, we will be doing a giveaway. To be a part of the giveaway, just gotta interact with us.
Adding your names to lists.
Yes. Get on the Discord. Email us. Shoot us a comment on YouTube.
Remember when there was like 6 people in our first giveaway? Now there's going to be like a massive list. Very exciting.
Yeah, so get in on that. Our 100th episode is coming up soon. I think we just released episode like 89.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we're very close. So get in on that. It's awesome. We love you guys. We love doing this. It honestly just gives us a reason to hang out, which is always needed. So to get in the giveaway, email us at theheresielodge@gmail.com. Get in the Discord. It is found on our Twitter. It's pinned to the top at Heresy Lodge. If those work for you, leave a comment on YouTube, like, subscribe, and ask for the Discord link. I will give it to you. Those are all of our socials. Gavin,
all of our plugs.
Robin.
Nope.
All right, guys. So that's it for Eye of Terra / our bullshit episode. Next week, we will be previewing Path of Heaven for Chris Rate, and we'll be back into our normal books. So, you guys have a good one.